Spiced apple rings is a really interesting way to preserve an apple. It's kind of like sweet pickling it, kind of. It tastes good though, so you'll just have to try it. The first thing I need to do is to core slice and peel my apple. I could do it with a knife, but I'll be doing it with my apple core slicer peeler today. Now I have a couple different options when it comes to all of my skins and cores. I can either feed them to my animals, which is great. The alpacas, chickens, and pigs all like them. Or I can add them to my compost heap, or I can actually make apple cider vinegar with them. Now I'll mix 12 cups of water with 3 tablespoons of white vinegar. And this will just keep the apples from browning while I'm making the syrup. So now I'll go back through and fine tune my apples. The core peeler does a really good job, but it does leave the ends on it. So those ends will need to be removed and any little bits of skin that got left over. You can determine how picky you want to be about it. Then I just slice it up one side, which then creates these little apple rings. And I'll place them in the vinegar water so that they don't go brown. I begin with 2½ sticks of cinnamon. Each of the whole cinnamon sticks I've broken in half. Then I'll add 2 teaspoons of whole cloves, 1 teaspoon of mustard seed, 1 cup of sugar, half a cup of light corn syrup, and 1 cup of vinegar. I'll then place this on the stove and bring it to a boil. Now that it's come to a boil, I'll add my apple rings. And then I'll boil it for 3 more minutes. I then carefully bring out my apple slices and put them into my hot jars. It's a little bit harder with these just because they're such big rounds. With them being softer, they do go through the funnel, but you know, just a little more difficult than smaller pieces. I try to get about 1 cinnamon stick in per jar, so that 3 minutes of cooking time shouldn't have made them mushy, just soft. And now I'll go through and top off all of my jars with the syrup. I need to fill it to 1/2 inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. I'll then go through with a chopstick and debubble it. This just makes it so if there's any trapped pockets of air in there that they come out. I'll then use a clean damp cloth to wipe off the rim of the jar. That just makes it so that if any of the syrup got on the edge, it won't interfere with the seal. And then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. Now I'll place these in my boiling water bath and process them for 15 minutes. If I was at sea level, I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process them for 20. Now that it's come to a nice rolling boil, I'll set my timer. Now that the timer's gone off, I'll remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I then pull out my jars and put them on a heat-resistant surface where I'll space them anywhere from 1 to 2 inches apart. This allows them to cool down quickly, and then I'll leave them there for about 24 hours, let them get a nice good seal. After that point, I'll remove the rings and wash them with hot soapy water, store them in a cool, dry, dark location, and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a try. Of course, I've tried it before, but every time it's new. So these are really fun because you have the tang of the vinegar, but the sweetness of the apples, and then you have the clove and the little pop of the mustard seeds, which for some reason are one of my favorites.